So I had my Quarry 5 miler race this weekend. I think it was pretty good. I think it was a success. I call it a success. I don't know the total. I didn't look at the number and the results yet, but I had like 80 pre-registered. A couple people didn't show up. A couple people came, signed up race day. Um, but I think it went pretty good. I think everything went well. I don't think there was any problems that I noticed or heard of yet. I think the new format this year people really liked. I'm just doing this as like a race director recap, like off the top of my head. Um, like the years past, I would always put these like I bought a bunch of decorations. They were kind of smaller. I figured smaller decorations, and higher quality might be make it more like Halloween themed along the trail. Um, then last year actually, uh, after setting everything up and it got dark a little bit, right before people took off, I actually rode my bike and did the course at night to actually get the full effect of what actually like people would see. And the decorations that I hung up the first 2 years to me sucked. Like I won't lie. I mean, you could see them a little bit if you're with your headlamps and stuff like that, but they didn't give you that wow factor. Um, and that's what I want to go for. As a race director, I want to give you that quality race, but I also want to give you a race experience that you keep wanting to come back year after year and participate in. And the first 2 years with those the smaller decorations, but in higher quantity or whatever, it felt like it didn't give you that wow factor. And uh, like me, I'd be like, don't necessarily need to come back to see this or participate in this race again. So as I was telling people, I wanted to revamp it this year. So what I did is I bought, um, I think it was like 8 or 9 like bigger Halloween things. Like some just were like with blinking lights in them that you could see along the trail, and some were actually like motion activated animatronic type things. Um, Nothing real super scary or loud or obnoxious or anything like that. Just enough whereas if you run past, you can actually see them and feel their presence. And like maybe set them off a little bit, maybe give you a little jumpiness if you're not wearing headphones. But um, again, I wanted to revamp it a little bit, so I figured bigger is better. Sometimes, when people say that, it doesn't always work well, but in this case, I think it actually did. Um, People said they really noticed the bigger Halloween decorations this year, and they liked that there was like light ones, and then there was like moving ones instead of like the smaller stuff they didn't see before. They really enjoyed the bigger things this year. Well, the only complaint I do remember now is the first one. It kept falling over. It was like a jack o' lantern thing that moved its arms a little bit, made some noise. I did stick that one right in the middle of the trail because it kept falling over when I had it on the side. My thought process was because it was still going to be daylight when everybody passed that on the way out, um, but I wasn't taking into consideration that you know people get into the race mode or whatever, and on the way back, they're not really going to see it too much because uh, the lights and stuff and the activation were on the way out, not on the way back. So they were just seeing the back. So being darker on the way back, a couple of people said they almost ran it over because they didn't see it. Um, so I have to remember that next year not to put it in the middle of the trail. There was no rhyme or reason where I put the 8 different things this year. It was basically where I felt a good spacing would be, or like a good branch where the couple of the ones that did hang off of trees would best be suited. I didn't. I wasn't doing it like every 2/10 or every 3/10. It was. Um, I played it by feel as I was driving down the trail. I was like, oh, all right. I feel like another one's due now, or maybe I spaced a couple a little bit shorter, or maybe a couple little bit longer. And then I put one on this like post right beside one of the little creek bridges. It's maybe like 10 feet long. I put it on a post. That was the electric one. It, like, shocks and moves around a little bit. I figured that was a good place for something like that this year. Um, but people really did seem to enjoy that this year. I had the inflatables up again this year, the Halloween inflatables for your start and finish line. Um, I didn't really concentrate too much on the train this year, but I did put some more decorations so people could take pictures beside the train. Um, Other than that, uh, my buddy, well, yeah, I had my buddies John and Leah doing the back half, like the turnaround area. Um, they did like the Quarry Shack, lighting that up, and then lighting up the bridge and taking care of the water stop uh, at the end, the turnaround and the turnaround area. People really did seem to enjoy what they did this year with the Quarry Shack, uh, with like this. They had strobe lights on it. I do have a couple clips, like 10, 15-second clips from trail cameras, like the Quarry Shack, just like strobe lighting. People enjoyed that, and then like the lights that they did do on the bridge, um, they seem to enjoy that. It just makes it a little bit more like fall Halloween feel, like a headless horseman type deal. Um, not everything's gonna be like scary Halloween theme. You could get that, like creepier, like fall dark graveyard type feel as well, which is kind of welcomed. Again, people like the clown I had at the turnaround that makes noise and moves a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy that the weather held off. Um, it moved in and out all day long, so I was kind of worried that it was just gonna like stall and hit us at race time. But it really wasn't too bad. In New Florence here, it actually rained to like Armagh. Then once we hit Armagh up the hill, it actually stopped raining on the way out to set up, get ready for the race. So I'm happy that it wasn't really raining too much for setup. I mean, it was like misting. I would say it misted the whole time um, for the race, but it didn't like really rain at all, um, except for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes where it was a little bit heavier than a mist, but it didn't like drench you the whole time. I didn't have to put on um, like a rain jacket or anything like that. I just had like a hoodie, and then when I took it off later, the hoodie wasn't even soaked. So even though it was like misting the whole time, it wasn't like a saturation, complete like moisture all over your body type rain. So that was nice because it was also like 60 degrees for the race. So temps were actually really high. So that was another reason it was nice, because the rain wasn't like, the mist wasn't really cold. So it didn't make people freeze and miserable as well. And then if it did rain, it would have made people miserable and want to sit in their cars and not really enjoy the race or cheering on other runners as they came in. Because I always tell people at my race, hey, come to the finish line, cheer people on, hang out with your friends. And I think the crowd that I get at my races, that's one of their favorite things to do, is actually cheer people on. I mean, I encourage it, but I think they take it upon themselves to cheer their family, their friends, their running group members on, which I really enjoy, like seeing that aspect. I would say there's probably at least 10 to 15 people for the most part at the finish line. It's, came like a steady stream. Someone would go get some snacks, come back, or, back and forth, and then talking to people. So there was definitely a lot of, there was a bigger presence at the finish line than some other races. So I really am thankful for the group that does support me in the races that I put on, that they themselves take it upon themselves and, cheer on other runners as they're coming in. I know there was no issues with the course. I had nobody say anything about it. I drove it as I was setting up. I mean, there was a couple of spots with like complete leaf cover across, but I would say it was like probably like 2 or 3% of the whole course was maybe completely leaf covered, if that. For the most part, all the leaves like were actually blown off the trail, and it was actually pretty solid for as much as it did rain earlier in the day. Like the trail was actually pretty hardcore and compacted. I think the wettest spot was probably like right after the finish line. There was like one little rut. Um, so that was probably the worst part of the whole course. Parking went fine. Uh, I still had a ton of snacks left over. I'd say almost half of the stuff that I bought was just left. I always try to make sure I have way more than I think people are going to eat, because let's just say I get a mad rush, or maybe something um, I have people like want, so I got to make sure I have high qualities of that one specific item. Um, but other than that, I think that was pretty good. John and Leah said that people wanted water more than Gatorade at the turnaround. So I have to think about that a little bit, talk with them a little bit more. Because this year, I gave one 5-gallon jug of water, and then I gave them a 3-gallon jug of Gatorade to use. Um, I have Gatorade at the turnaround. I know most 5Ks and stuff like that, 10Ks only have water, but I figure it's a 5 mile. Give people that option in case they're, having a rough time running the first 2.5 miles, or maybe they're walking and they're taking their time and they get a little bit thirsty. So water's not necessarily uh, what they want. Gatorade's a good option to have. So I like to give people an option out there, but I have to think about that a little bit more instead of having, uh, the two jugs out there with water and Gatorade if it's really necessary, instead of just being wasteful. But the Gatorade powder that I bought, 6 gallons, so it makes 6 gallons. So I put 3 at that turnaround and 3 at the finish line for people to use. And I still had a ton at the finish line left over that I just dumped out. So um, I'm glad I just bought one instead of trying to fill 2 5 gallons up and wasting all that. But who knows? But then again, if it's a hotter day and you don't have it and people want it, it's better to have it than not have it. uh, I put the trail camera. Well, John put the trail cameras up for me um, at the far end of the trail, like one across from the Quarry shack, and then one near the turnaround. The one at the Quarry shack was a little disappointing. Somehow I went from picture mode to clip mode, so I got like 20, 30 clips, like 10-second clips, but you really can't see people because like the motion sensors catch them, but they're already past. So it gives you like a couple seconds. So if somebody else is coming, you get that second person. So I'll still post them at some point, but they're not really great clips. Again, the trail cameras are a work in progress for night races and stuff like that. When I'm using them for hunting and like deer and animals and stuff, deer aren't like running by, or they're not using headlamps, so it's picking up the animals a lot better than it is people. I thought this year, if I told John, I was like, put it straight across from the Quarry shack, like angled straight across, so it doesn't catch like the headlamps if you angle it down or up the trail. I thought that might have been the way to go, but I guess with people who are like actually running or walking past, by the time it sets it off, like the sensor, they're already past. So that was my bad on that part. And then to turn around, I think the same thing happened, like for the pitchers, just like people were just like too fast for it to catch. I did get a few, but I should have had a lot more. Maybe the batteries died on that one. I don't know. I have to check that out a little bit more before I hang them back up in the woods. So the trail cameras were a little disappointing for this race. But if you've seen the ones from like Festivus and Set Your Year on Fire, I got a ton of great pictures off of the trail cameras. So it just must be like the night thing, or maybe even the cameras that I got are just too junky or cheap. Because they are cheaper in the spectrum of the trail cameras, because I've had mine in the woods stolen so many times I didn't want to spend $100 or like $40 ones, but that's here nor there. People like the shirt design this year. Always try to make it fun and interesting and change it up from year to year. I think the awards went well. People seem to like the awards. I mean, there was no complaint yet of the awards. Gonna figure out how to get a bunch more people there to fill them up, because I still had like 20, 30 left from certain age groups that just didn't come. Like there was like really no young kids this year, like no teenagers. But I know with cross country, like states and stuff, the last couple of days, I think D6 was actually yesterday morning. So you're not going to get the younger crowd there because of that. And then trick or treating and stuff takes away from like some of the younger age groups as well. But I do have really good representation from like the 30 plus, even in like the 40, 50 range. So I'm very thankful for that. It's just different races in different areas. Like you see the different age groups like come out for this. Like we'll say like the younger kids will go to this race, and then the like the 30-year-old plus will go to like this type of race. So it's always interesting to try to like mesh the both together. To get a bunch of people together. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, set up. I didn't get out there till like 4:30 this year. Set up because I know what I'm doing. I know what needs to be done, and I know I can get it done within like an hour before registration opens up. My big thing is getting registration open up first, and then go setting up the course, which generally takes like 10. Well, I wouldn't say 10 minutes, probably 20, 30 minutes for me to like put the decorations out on the course. But I can get registration up in like 20 if need be, 15 if I really hustle. So that's not really a big deal. Like, I don't want to ask people to come early and help me, or stay later than need be. Waste their time when I can get everything set up in a short amount of period of time if I hustle a little bit. And since I have everything set, planned out in my head, I know what to do, like bang, bang, get it done. But I did set both canopies up this year, the 10 by 10s. Because again, with that little bit of mist, and then when it did rain harder for a couple minutes, people actually could get underneath them. So that was kind of smart to actually set both up. My dad told me to actually set them both up. I was like, I will wait. But I'm glad he made me do that. Trying to think what else. Registration seemed to go pretty good. Barbara, Vanessa, and Pat said everything went good. No issues there. Timer didn't have any issues, except for a couple of people, like when they finished, they got too close to the timing mats. You had to just tell them to step back a little bit, so you didn't screw up the timing or reread them and throw off their times. I did rush the awards a little bit once the race ended, because again, it was I think it did start to get a little bit heavier rain, like right before then. And that's why I rushed like awards. I just, kept calling out names really quick. Instead of, I would have liked to have gotten some pictures of the people getting awards, and spent a little bit more time, But with it, like, it definitely was raining a little bit more, I think, then. I just wanted to get people out and home, and not standing out in the rain real quick. So I did rush that. So I will apologize for that. But as I said this, as they were leaving, that was the reason why I rushed the awards real quick. So people get home. Race starts at 6:30. I say you have to be across the mats by 8. The awards are 8:05. So I don't want to keep people all there all night, 9, 10 o'clock at night just for awards, milk on out the awards a little bit, because people have Halloween parties to go to, families to take care of, they want to get home, shower, rest, do whatever else they might be doing or getting ready for the next morning. So I do try to rush it a little bit, but last night was definitely a rusher because of the weather. I do remember that. Cleanup went pretty good. I was definitely home by like 9, 10. I want to say, um, or even 9. It was between 9 and 9:10 is actually when I got home last night. It's like a 10-15 minute drive, from Vintdale to home. So we got cleaned up and everything, and out of there pretty quickly. I did do a sweep of the parking lot and along the road a little bit, picked up some trash. I know there's some beer cans there that been there all week. I just cleaned them up. That way people didn't blame me for the race. Um, yeah, we basically just, cleanup's a little bit easier. Getting things thrown in the vehicles. That's partially why, because we're just throwing stuff in vehicles instead of setting it in stuff. Everything was wet, so there was no point in taking your time, like putting the canopies in the bags and stuff like that, because they had to air dry. That's what they're doing now in the basement, the other side of the room in the basement, by the dehumidifier, getting all the moisture off the canopies. I got all the Halloween decorations, had them up, the inflatables over by the dehumidifier, so it dries them out without getting mildew, just setting them in my shed. I already took up probably 60-70% of the stuff, put it away already. Just that the Halloween decorations and the canopies, gotta sort them out, get another tote at Walmart tomorrow morning and put the newer decorations in, because I just put them in cardboard boxes that they came in on the way over. But yeah, I think the crew that I have, we got things down pretty good. They know what to do. They know what, I guess, the expectations are. From like what I mean by expectations are, like they know what people are going to expect out of them, like during the race. Like John and Leah know what like to do for the turnaround. Like, hey, people want water. This is how they want it. Barb and Vanessa, know like if a mad rush of people are coming, like registration one time, like they expect that a little bit at some point, so they know how to like set things up properly, and even setting out the awards after people start, like, to get things running smoothly. They do a pretty good job. They got their job down. Like, I just be like, with them, Barbara and Vanessa, I just have to be like, hey, like, just basically hand them the stuff and they take care of the rest, because they've done what, 4, 6, 7 races, maybe 8. I gotta count. Wait, yeah, I think 7 or 8 now that they've done with helping with me. So they know what to do. I just be like, here's the money, here's the bibs, here's that. They just, they got their stuff down pat, which I'm thankful for. Like John and Leah know what to do with the turnaround. My dad and Pat, hey, this is what needs done. They ask me what needs done. I give them directions. They get stuff done. We just work as a team real quick. We all get along. There's really not much else, I guess. Thankful, again, for Barbara and Vanessa Ute, my dad and Pat, John and Leah, Smiley Miles timing, which timed it. Everything went smooth with them as well. The bibs, all the numbers. Big shout out to Naniglow Volunteer Fire Department again for providing the medical support for the race, and actually bringing like the 4-wheeler to make sure to follow in like the last people, and they actually picked up the decorations again this year for me as they came in, which saves me a ton of time. Saves me another probably 15-20 minutes at the very minimum from driving the course and picking them up myself. Since they're already out there on the way back, they just pick them up as they go, which is awesome. I thank them for that. Trying to think what else. Thank Indiana County Parks and Rec for opening up the gates on actually like both ends this year. They opened up the Vintdale end and the actual Red Mill, which is the far side of the trail that we use. so like John and Leah could actually like drive in, make things easier that way. Because I think before I didn't ask, because Vintdale Gate was always open. Um, I don't even know if Red Mill Gate was open last year. I'd have to ask John and them, Leah, if that gate was open last year or not. I know this year I specifically asked if they would open the Red Mill one too, so it'd make things easier coming from the other side, just in case something happened, like medical had to get in from that side. Um, it's one of those things. It takes like 2 minutes to do, but it makes a huge difference if something, uh, God forbid, would happen to somebody. You can get access very quickly on both sides of the trail. Um, so I'm gonna have to remember to ask about that again next year. Um, just makes things a heck of a lot easier, I guess. Um, just getting permission. Thankful that everybody was respectful to the trail, not leaving any garbage anywhere. Um, just being fun in general. I would say, I don't know, off the top of my head, 50-50. Or in costumes, I would say 50% were, 50% weren't. Um, which is cool. I enjoy seeing the costumes. Like, I know some people don't want to dress up because if they're going to run fast, go for like prizes and stuff, awards, they don't want to dress up, which you don't have to. I encourage it just because me personally, I like seeing it. Yeah, I think everybody had some really good costumes this year, like the Three Blind Mice. Um, oh, if I start naming them off, I'm going to forget people, but um, there's definitely some groups that coordinated this year, so that's kind of cool. Um, I did video the finish line. I'll have that up in probably another day. Um, I got the pictures up already online that I took. I'm having trouble with the clips. I probably took 50, 60 clips. Because with my phone, if I film like the 10-second clips, I can hit the photo button, so it takes it at the same time. But I tried to upload too many clips at one time, so Facebook blocked my, or restricted for me to upload the clips, so I have to like wait another day to actually upload the short like 10-15 second clips. So that's the only issue there, but that's not really a race issue. That's more of like a after the fact issue. I just have to make sure I don't upload too many too quick again, and get my access restricted for that thing. But like again, all those pictures are up that I took already. If you have any other pictures, send them to me and I'll put them in the album. Again, I just want to thank everybody for supporting the race, for coming out, having a good time. Hopefully, I know obviously everybody made it to the race safely. Hopefully everybody made it home safely in a timely manner. I know there was a guy came from Tionesta, so he said it was a 2-hour 10-minute drive or 2-hour 20-minute drive. So shout out to him for coming and supporting me and Only Athletics. That was pretty cool that he came that far. Talked with him for a few minutes afterwards. He seemed like he really enjoyed it. Hope he comes back and brings some friends. Yeah, it's cool that I have like a bunch of people now like that come year after year, like my friends and well, I really didn't have any family there this year, but I have like a nice local support group, and then starting to get some people from out of the area coming in wanting to see the area like before the race, because there's a bunch of things you could see before the race, like Liza Furnace, the Coal Miners Memorial, the geysers in the creek, the train car there and stuff like that, and then you get to see the Quarry Shack during the race. I'm trying to make it a little bit of more of a destination race, reach out a little bit more people. It's just hard with that 6:30 p.m. start to draw more people in from like a couple hours away, because they're basically wasting. I don't want to say wasting a whole day, but if you like driving 2 hours in, guy would have to leave at like 4. He's not getting home to like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So it does eat up a chunk of your day. But I think, like me showing like I want to actually put forth the effort to give you a good race experience, not just a race in general. The word's starting to get out and even for like my other races, I tell people it's not just going to be a race, it's going to be a race experience. And I hope I do that for people. People continue to support me um, for the races that I do. Because again, some of the races, the 2 races that are coming up are for the fire companies. This specific race, it's not a sponsored race. It's not like benefiting anything in general. What I do with the money for this race, well, I've never actually made money off this race yet. I've always lost money. I think I'm down like mostly like $1,200 with like all the stuff like the generators, the canopies, and stuff like that. But whatever money, if there is any money like from like left over from like the T-shirts, the food, the timer, the awards, and stuff like that, like I try to upgrade the equipment. So like last year, like I said, I needed to spend money on getting more decorations. So like next year, maybe try to upgrade something else. It's not like I'm doing this for profit. Everything that, if this gets to the point like where it becomes a money generating thing, like all the money that gets generated is just going to be dumped into upgrading equipment, not just for this race, but for the couple fireman races or any other races that I hold for like charities and stuff. So like maybe an arch down the road, or another generator, better lighting, upgrade the awards a little bit, maybe, just dumping it all goes right back into the experience. It's not going to go like to my pocket or anything, because I know I had a couple people asked. That's why I bring that up a little bit. So when it becomes a race where like might have a couple $100 like more than I spent on it, it's all going to go right back in to the race experience, like this one or the other ones that I do for benefits, just to try to help give those races a better experience and try to generate more money for the 2 fire company ones. So I guess that would explain like what I did with the money. I think I spent like $2,200 this year. I might have, with the registrations and stuff, it was like $2,000 or $2,100 is what I got back through registration. So I'm putting on this race, in hopes that a little bit like grows the brand, like the Only Athletics brand. It helps grow like the other races that I do. Like the New Forest Fire Company and the Ligonier Fire Companies, like hopefully it grows them where they can make more money off of them, if that makes any sense. But again, I'm trying to put on a race like and grow the Only Athletics brand through the different races. So this is just like one way I'm trying to grow like the other endeavors that I do, and other things that I do to benefit. So I guess that's about it. Again, I just thank everybody for coming. Hope you had a good time. If you have any questions, comments, things to improve on, or like you would like to see at this race, let me know. I'll try to maybe buy another 1 or 2 animatronic things next year, or maybe upgrade some more lights or something like that. Always trying to improve it, give you a better race experience year after year. Try to keep it fresh a little bit so you're not getting the same thing year after year. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you want to come back, tell your friends, spread the word. Hopefully see you at the other races that I host with the Only Athletics brand and help out with. Just make sure you check out, follow and like us on YouTube under Only Athletics. the new official facebook.com/onlyathleticsofficial, and then the new group that we have, like it's a public discussion group where you can actually post events in, like athletic events. So if you're gonna do want to do a group run, or if you're helping out a race, or you want to share a race that think people might be interested in, I got a new group up for that. It's facebook.com/groups/onlyathletics. You just have to answer like 2 questions to get in, so like a bunch of spammers don't try to post some like inappropriate things, or bots or whatever. So you can actually like post pictures in that group one, share some clips, how your training's going, anything like athletically. I encourage people to post in that, so check them out. And I guess that's it. Hopefully you guys are doing good, feeling good, and see you guys soon.